Every year, more than 4,000 people in this country die from poisoning or accidental drug overdoses. On December 4th, 1986, one family in Windham, Connecticut, learned just how dangerous a substance can be when it falls into the wrong hands.
We were babysitting my granddaughter, Sherelle, because my daughter was in the hospital having another baby. I thought this was going to be great because I can have a whole lot of time with her.
2-year-old Sherelle was staying at the house where her grandmother, Sarah Bedore, and Sarah's elderly mother lived. Sherelle's blind 82-year-old great-grandmother had a heart condition and took Digoxin, a prescription medication to increase the force of her heartbeat.
Medication was left out because of her handicap. We always had it on the kitchen table where she could get at it. I had left Sherelle in the living room playing and had gone upstairs for a couple of minutes to get dressed. Mom, what happened? I found Sherelle in Mom's arms over the kitchen sink vomiting. I did not know what the problem was at that time. I thought maybe it could be a touch of the flu coming on or something.
Sarah called her other daughter, Cheryl, who worked just down the street.
My mother said, Sherelle has gotten into Graham's heart medication. She's vomiting. Come now.
I'm on my way.
My heart started pounding because I knew Sherelle was a little girl, and I knew that my grandmother's medication all was rather serious because of her heart problems. At that point, we still didn't know how much medication she had taken, and I started talking to her immediately and kept trying to get her to tell me exactly what it was that she had done. She just kept repeating, I took my medicine.
They decided it would be quickest to drive the 5 miles to the nearest hospital themselves.
I knew that getting her to the hospital as soon as possible was the most important thing.
When did this happen? About 45 minutes
They got Sherelle to Windham Hospital within 10 minutes, where Dr. Herb Gray was in charge of the emergency room.
The first thing we wanted to do was get her on a cardiac monitor in order to determine if she had any apparent serious rhythm disturbance. The problem with Digoxin is that it can have profound effects on the heart, including slowing of the heart or cardiac arrest even.
The time-release medication had begun to take effect. Sherelle's heartbeat was slowly being suppressed. It was critical that they find out as soon as possible just how much had gotten into her system.
Hold tight. You're doing fine.
The blood tests that we obtained showed that she had indeed ingested Digoxin, and also that her levels were 4 to 5 times toxic level.
You have to sit up and you're going to have to try to drink a little something, okay? It'll help.
In an attempt to lower the dangerous levels of the drug in Sherelle's system, she was given a special mixture of activated charcoal.
Activated charcoal is a specially treated charcoal which binds medicine that's in the gastrointestinal tract and therefore prevents it from being absorbed into the bloodstream.
Real important to get all she can. Drink it all.
Some of it stayed down for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and then she just vomited it all up again. So it really didn't have a chance to do anything that it was supposed to do.
Sherelle's condition continued to deteriorate. She seemed to be showing no signs of improving.
Watching the heart monitor and watching her blood pressure go up and down, I was becoming more and more anxious because I knew whatever it was that we were doing wasn't enough.
We're going to take good care of you.
The decision was made to transfer her to Hartford Hospital's pediatric cardiology unit.
When they actually had her packaged up on the stretcher and Lifestar door was open and they put her into this helicopter and closed the door, I didn't think that I'd see her alive again.
Sherelle's father, Ron, was contacted at work and told of her serious condition.
I don't know how I got from work to Hartford to see my daughter. I don't even remember half of the driving. I was just going. Too many things going through my head. I just couldn't believe that it was actually really happening. And that I thought I was going to wake up and this was all just a bad dream. Lifestar was landing in the parking lot as I came in. I tried to get towards the helicopter and security wouldn't let me nowhere near it. I saw them take her out on a stretcher. Then is when it hit me that she was in rough shape and in for her fight of her life. I was yelling and screaming, calling for my daughter, just calling out, "Sherelle, Daddy loves you. Please don't leave me."
Ron managed to get through to his wife, Pam, at another hospital where she had just delivered a baby boy.
He then had told me that something had happened to our daughter, that she had taken Grandma's heart medication. So that's when I had asked him, is she dead or alive? And he says right now she's alive, but we don't know if she's going to make it or not. At that point, I thought I had just given birth to one child, and I thought that my other child was being taken away from me.
Cheryl went to the hospital to comfort her sister.
She looked up when I came through the door, and she started to cry. And I just went over to her, and I held her, and I said, "Pam," I said, "she's going to be okay. She's going to be all right." But none of us knew if she was or she wasn't.
With each passing hour, the levels of the drug in Sherelle's bloodstream increased. But there was nothing more they could do. Unless the drug's levels became lethal, an antidote could itself be toxic.
Just watching her with all this equipment, watching her heartbeat on the screen, praying that she wouldn't leave us. And what was I going to do to myself for not spending the time that I should have spent with my daughter?
Sometime in the night, the levels of the drug finally peaked. They would not need the antidote.
It was about 2 in the morning when the nurse had come in and told me that I could go in and see my daughter. They didn't even have to tell me twice. I was gone. I stayed at her bedside with her for quite a while, and she sat up. She took a drink of ginger ale for me, and we held each other for a while. She gave me a pretty good hug for a little kid.
Ron brought the good news to his wife, but it was 2 days before she was able to see her daughter.
She looked weak, and as soon as she saw me, she had a big smile on her face and said, "Mommy," and put her arms out for a hug. And I went over and gave her a big hug and cried.
4 years later, Sherelle has no permanent after effects from the accidental overdose that nearly took her life.
Looking at her today, you wouldn't know that anything ever happened. She's healthy, active, can't keep her down. She's just one bouncing, beautiful girl, that's it.
There's times where she may be sleeping in bed at night, and I just think back on the accident, and I'll just go in bed and lay next to her and rub her. Just so thankful she is with us today. When the grandchildren come to visit, grandparents are not always aware of what may be of danger to children. Not having children around, it's easy to forget that children are inquisitive and are going to touch things that they should not touch.
Consider the fact that you have a lot of poisons that you normally use in your day-to-day activities, mostly cleaning solutions or cleaning products which will be under the sink in your kitchen or under the sink in the bathroom, both areas which are readily accessible to a toddler, someone who's exploring their world. God didn't want her right now, and apparently she wasn't ready to go.
To me, she is my miracle child. She has a long life ahead of her to live yet.